Welcome to another episode of GymnasticsVille. We back again in the bird's nest, flying high in the sky. We have a great show in store for everybody. All the way over, flapping his wings like he's a bird, but he's not a bird. We got the action figure, Kerry Adderly.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Tuning in from Eagles Nest Park. Always in a bird's nest over here. That's how we do.
All right, and next, in the middle, we have, man, this guy has so many titles. Circus Olay, acrobat, Disney, stuntman, tumbling trampoline, world team member, choreographer, director, and now coach in Houston, Texas, H-Town at World Champion Center. Jeffrey T. Brown. What's up, Jeffrey? How you doing?
What's up, fellas? It's good to see y'all again. Always good to be in the bird's nest.
Yeah, this is great. And I'm not gonna bring this up too much more, but you two right now kind of make me feel like I need to work out. I'm just saying, Jeffrey, you're getting a little buff over there. Kerry, you've been there. So what's going on, man? What's your workout regimen like, dude? How are you getting those pythons like that?
Well, about a year ago, I started with a trainer at LA Fitness, and trying to get to my fitness peak, after gymnastics, and we've actually been bulking me up, getting ready to do physique shows, and bodybuilding and stuff like that, and obviously that's derailed right now a little bit, but the great thing is I only was off about a weekend during this quarantine. My trainer got a garage at his apartment complex. He's got it stocked full of stuff. He's been getting all kinds of equipment and everything. So I've been going there 4 days a week throughout the last 2 months. And that's what's been keeping me in shape and keeping me sane as well, because without that, I'd probably just be sitting here on my butt.
Nice. Very nice, man. No, it looks like it's working. But the top of the hour, the first thing I want to get to today, all right, big news. I had thought that USA Gymnastics was going to try to put on some events more in the October, November range, but saw a press release from ESPN last night that USA Gymnastics canceled all their premier events for 2020, and they've already scheduled, U.S. Championships and the GK Classic and for 2021. So no U.S. Championships this year. Sent a text to a few of the guys. Some of them are kind of bummed. I mean, this is a huge deal, and I think this brings a lot of questions about what's going to happen next, especially with the guys and the women. Well, all the athletes really that are on national teams that go to these premier events to requalify for national team, and most of the positions are funded positions. So puts us in a whole different ball game that no one's ever been through this. So Jeffrey, what were your thoughts when you heard USA Gymnastics is canceling all their events for 2020?
I would say that as soon as I saw it, I kind of realized that it was just a long time coming. We were sort of waiting on this news, with other countries already canceling everything. It was something that I was more or less waiting for. As a state chair for South Texas, I get that communication very early through email from our program directors to spread that to my state teams and clubs. And then I had to obviously pass that, horrible news over to my kids and, and their families that, they would not be competing anymore this year, or at least not going to nationals. So I think it is probably the best idea. I go to USA Gymnastics Championships with trampoline and tumbling, rhythmic and acro, and that is an enormous event. There's, over, 1,500 athletes from level 8 to elite for, all these disciplines. And it's a big event. And we have to have a convention center space plus an arena for all the senior and elite athletes. and then all the hotels and everything like that. Like, it's just a massive amount of people. So with COVID and everything, it was probably the best decision that USA Gymnastics could have made, just to make sure that we adhere to social distancing and everything, so that we can get back to competing as soon as possible.
So, Kerry, my question to you is, from an elite athlete perspective, put yourself in the president CEO shoes, her mind, Lili Lungs, the CEO from USA Gymnastics. So what do you think went through with her decision, with making this decision when it comes to what the athletes are currently going through, working out of their homes, working out of their garages, to have a U.S. championships in October, November? How realistic would that have been with the current state of these top athletes not even in gyms right now? And you being an elite gymnast yourself, you kind of know the training cycle and how long it takes to prepare for a competition that big. I mean, what do you think was going through her mind when she made this decision? Or what would go through your mind when you're looking at making a decision like this?
Okay, well, I'll start with what will go through my mind. I would have made the decision once everybody else shut down operations. It would have been a very easy decision, just for public safety, and nothing more. I felt just personally, any decision to kind of try to continue events with cases still rising would have just been another bad move. So I'm glad, at least I don't like that they kind of strung along things, knowing that they would probably close anyway. I think it would have been better to just close it right away. And if it happens to say, hey, we're going to try to do something down the line, inform people then, versus, because then you get your hopes up, especially when things starting to get better. Things are starting to open up, and then you get this kind of news. So, I feel like maybe she wanted to do it a long time ago, but then, obviously with more and more, evidence and things coming in, that she decided that, hey, this is the right move. I'm looking around my other CEOs and people that are in events and sports, and they're all doing the same thing. So, I think that was a safe move. And especially also when this comes at a time when the USOPC, I can't say the whole acronym, U.S. Olympic and Paralympic. I did? Okay. Olympic Paralympic Committee, when they're, under fire right now, and drawing kind of negative press towards the organization. So I think that, to care about the people more than caring about money and a medal right now is the right thing to do.
Jeffrey, from a training perspective, because you're a coach junior elite athletes, how realistic would it have been for these athletes to be able to compete in October or November, which was kind of some of the months that they were throwing out there to some of the top athletes? I mean, would they have even been ready if there would have been a U.S. Championships in October, November, being that there's gyms still aren't currently open?
I think it would have been a stretch, because taking that amount of time off, for any elite athlete, any high level athlete is a lot. And even though we've done such great things like, try to keep the kids involved with conditioning and, Zoom calls and stuff like that, it still was, actually, it's more of I think a mental issue too, like you're not in the gym every day doing those things, making those mistakes, putting in those numbers. So I think it was, again, it would be a stretch, and it would be, almost unrealistic. I've been on national team calls with the trampoline and tumbling national team this whole, quarantine, and the USOPC has actually sent out training plans for our athletes, based on what they do, and that's what the athletes were doing on the calls. And they actually said that we have to be very, very careful about when we come back, because there was a study done with I think it was NFL players and knee injuries and coming back from those surgeries and and everything like that. And they came to find out that it really takes about 12 weeks for an athlete of that caliber to return back to where they once were.
12 weeks. Interesting.
12 weeks.
Yep.
12 weeks. Yo, my guy just started doing gymnastics, and he was doing layout to Taqiy.
Yeah, but that's just individual skills.
Just did that.
But that's individual skills.
Right. Not for routines.
That's not routines.
Yeah, it's not really routines.
But and I think also we're going to see a lot of interesting things happen because I was thinking about my own kids, and I was saying the kids that are about 13 and younger are going to come back and they're going to be afraid all over again. They're going to be dealing with a lot of fear of not having done these skills, whether they had mastered them or they were doing progressions toward these new skills. Then I was thinking about my older group, my 14 and up, and they're going to be riddled with a lot of frustration because they're not able to do the things that they were able to do like no problem, or the things that they were working on. It didn't take many turns to sort of get to it, and then they're putting in numbers. So there's going to be a lot of mental retraining that's going to happen. And again, I don't think that amount of time, because at one point they were looking at August for U.S. Gym Championships for TNT, Acro, and
they were looking at August.
They were looking at August, and I was like, and I actually was talking to some of my fellow coaching friends, and they were just like, even if they do have nationals, I'm not sending my kids. That's not enough time. They're going to be a nervous wreck, even more than they already are, because they haven't had enough time to really get back to where they were. So it was either going to be unsafe, or it was going to be a very lackluster championships where everyone is just running very safe
core
passes,
routines, basically. Yeah,
clean routines.
Yep.
Just to again, be able to compete again, and and hopefully hit any minimum scores or difficulty that they were going to need to hit, because it's this is something that a lot of us never been through before. Like at most, I think as an elite athlete, I maybe took off a week or two, and that was usually for some sort of injury or like sprained ankle or something like that. And that was enough to rock my timing and make me have to really work and get back into the groove again. So 2 months of just conditioning, and hoping that the kids are conditioning and doing cardio on their own and not just the 2 days that they get on the call is it's a lot. That's going to be it's going to be a big transition going back into gyms.
Kerry, now from a competitive standpoint, Kerry, we now know that U.S. Championships is not going to be till next year, Fort Worth, sometime in May, June. I don't have the dates up in front of me, but I think it's June, beginning of June.
Yeah, it's around the same time.
Yeah, around the same time. 6. Does this level the playing field? Does this create more competition because everyone had this time off? I mean, are we going to see new guys in the mix come 2021 because of this break?
No, I actually think the guys that have the edge are the guys who've been able to actually still train on some events while during this quarantine. And those are just happen to be some of the top guys. So, whatever it may be. And maybe, some of the other guys are finding their ways too. I haven't seen any other guys posting about how much equipment or if they're able to fully train. I haven't seen a lot myself personally, but I just think that guys that have been able to kind of get an edge and get in the gym here and there, whatever it may be in a closed situation, those guys are going to have the edge. And I think actually it's going to separate the actual raw talent and ability of people, because now everybody will have the same amount of time to prepare, equally on that kind of even playing field. But then the raw ability and talent of certain people are going to clearly show. So I think it's going to be, good. And yeah, maybe I think there will be some people that might shift in certain areas, but I don't know, it was different last time we saw, at least in men's gymnastics. It was a high percentage of hits in all the routines, and I think that could probably take a significant fall with the layoff. So,
how about your thoughts, Jeffrey, on the tumbling trampoline side? How do you think this is going to affect the competitive aspect and the level of competitiveness for the athletes?
I think it's, again, going to go back to what I said before. It's going to be, everyone's mental game. I know there are some athletes that may have still been able to train a little bit. There's some athletes that have returned back to training. So I don't think there's going to be a level playing field on the sense of, how much training time, everybody's had. It's going to be, skewed. But I think that, again, it depends on your mental constitution, how you go back into the gym, how you, ease back into what you were doing and get back your normal training, fire and then move on from that, which is, what we all try to do in training is, do what we know, but then also, move on to the next step. So it's going to be up to the people that are really smart about how they're training and how they're getting back into the gym. Those will be the ones that I think really, we see that excel. And that could be anybody. That could be the ones that were on top of the game, from the very beginning. That could be some ones that were slowly on the rise. It'll be interesting, to say the least. And we'll see some new faces. We're going to see some athletes that are aging into the Olympic age next year as well.
Yeah.
And so some junior athletes like coming out of the woodwork that may or may not be a part of that that new Olympic selection process.
Yeah, I mean that's actually a good point, and it brings me to the women now a little bit, because you're right. Now a year later, there may be some really stellar juniors out there on the women's side that now are eligible. So I think on the women's side, it's going to be a dogfight. I think there's going to be now more girls in the mix. It's going to be very, very interesting how this all plays out in 2021.
Well, I think it was already a dogfight, with only 4 spots this year, and the depth of the, women's team. I think it was already going to be like, a fight to the death for, those 4 spots. And now it's just going to be even more stressful for those girls, because you got the younger ones coming in hoping to make it into one of those spots, but you've got the veterans and the girls that have, been groomed to hopefully be a part of this team that are, again, dealing with the mental stress of, I've been preparing for 2020 and now I've had to stop and then reevaluate to get ready for 21.
We all want to know, because you probably see Simone Biles more than most people, because you work at the gym. How do you think this is going to affect her gymnastics going into 2021?
I asked that question myself when they, announced the Olympics were not, happening this year. And, I was wondering what she was going to do, because, I was under the impression this was her last year. She was going to do 2020 and be done and, and retire. And, now, reading some stories and stuff, she's, spoken out about how she's really had, really has to reevaluate and see, what she wants to do. Does she want to put her body through that for another year to do, Tokyo next year? If she does decide to do it, which more than likely I think she will, I think she does want to, return to the Olympic Games. I think that she just has incredible leadership, when it comes to her coaching. Laurent and Cecile, I think, have done a fantastic job with not only her, but our other elites, and then also the junior Olympic program. Like, those girls are, they are put through it. They work, and they have to work in order to, kind of keep up with what they're doing. And we've got girls going to college and things like that because of that leadership. So she's in good hands coaching wise to prepare her. And I think that she will be prepared if she does, in fact, decide to make a run for next year's Tokyo Games.
Music. Oh, the love of music and song and dance. I think all of us have been entertainers and work in entertainment, and I think we understand the value of music to entertainment. And when you look at some of the other sports, the NBA, NFL, this is sports entertainment. And I believe that the gymnastics purists just look at it as gymnastics and they leave off the entertainment part of the sport. I think the women have the sports entertainment, but the men just have the sport, just gymnastics. So something I want to ask you, because you're a choreographer and you obviously worked in a lot of different shows that includes music as part of the actual show. Men's gymnastics, floor music. What are your thoughts?
Yes. I 100% think that it is possible. And for those people that say that, it's not really possible, it's not something that would, really add anything to it. Let's go back to the Reese's American Cup.
Reese's American
Cup challenge. Y'all remember that?
Oh, Reese's. Yeah, Reese's. That's right. Reese's I went to American one Cup in Houston, Texas. I went to one. Yep.
And I never had the chance to see one of those live, but I definitely.
I think I went to one.
And and again, it was a fun format. It was a lot of craziness. It's very similar to the Olympic showcase at the at the end of the games or whatever. And although it was very comical and there was not as hard of gymnastics, it still had an impact. That really, that's something that happened 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. And that's something that still sticks with me. And I think that adding music and adding back actual artistry to men's artistic gymnastics would be something that would take men's gymnastics to another level.
Now, I had a question about the music. So do you think it should be, how do you think the music format should go? So I had two ideas, right? Okay. Say in women's college and the balance beam, they let the girls play, or young ladies play a song of their choice. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They play a song of their choice. I've heard from country to R&B to ballads to I've heard all types of stuff. And then obviously on floor they have kind of more of a mix. It's more like a mega, like a Disney mega mix style thing where they have it's all mixed up. So for guys, do you think that same type of format should apply, or do you think that it should just kind of be let them just choose something and freestyle with it?
I think that both formats could work. I can't really say, from an outsider perspective, not having done an actual floor X routine, but I think that both can work. I think that, with just having a background track, I think that's been something that's been very beneficial for the girls, and it has actually inspired some girls to, add different types of choreography to their routine. I remember, I'm not sure the gymnast's name, but she had Michael Jackson playing in the background and she was moonwalking on the beam. I think
I saw that. I forgot who that was.
I forgot who that was, and that was a while ago, but that's when I first heard about that rule, and I was like, that's dope. It's very reminiscent of Stick It, gymnastics and, way, doing head spins on beam. But it's beam has choreography, and that may be something that, again, is beneficial to the athlete to keep their timing, things of that nature. So I think that would be something very cool for men's, especially those men that maybe aren't as confident about their dance ability or their artistry. That's, a good way to also introduce it. Is just we are able to play whatever music you want, over, the sound system while you do your floor routine. But I think that if artistry is more a part of the score for floor exercise, then the music needs to have choreography attached to it. And honest to God, adding music, and especially with like house music and the beats and everything like that, there is a whole new market for choreographers as well to choreograph these men's powerful floor routines to music and add more artistic movement. I just saw a tweet where a guy did basically a saison to a 1.5 pirouette and then kind of stepped into a corner. And it was a very crude video. It was like in his house, but someone posted that and I saw it and I was like, absolutely, that should absolutely be in the code of points. If he does that, that should be, again, artistry points. I'm not sure where in the code for men that would add in, but that's something that our men's, athletes are capable of. They have the flexibility, they should have the balance, and it's a new and innovative way for men's gymnastics to, enter into the corner, which I, in talking to you guys, I know that that's something that's been a very big, issue with men's gymnastics is getting to that corner.
Yeah, I was for a little bit, Midnight, and he mentioned something, and it made me think of the time restraints and how the score, well, like you said, add in the choreography to benefit the score, but then that equates to longer routines. So now you got, 70 seconds, or I don't know, is it 70 to, I don't know how many seconds a floor routine has to be. There's a certain time limit before you get deducted. But you only have so much time, and these guys are literally running from corner to corner doing 5, 6, and 7 passes in a routine. Where would the time be? Just thinking about it as well. If we could adjust it, would it be add time, or how do you supplement the score with the choreography?
I don't think you can add time. The guys and even the girls are gassed.
I think
so. You take away difficulty. Then.
You have to take away some of the passes.
Or add more requirements. For instance, for the women, there's a dance requirement.
Exactly.
So add a dance requirement, and then they have to do that instead of doing a tumbling pass.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what would need to happen. Is that there are,
like, a dance requirement could be worth as much as doing a static hold or a circle. Because that's what I think it is for guys, right? You have to do a static hold, and I think static hold and circle in that same type of category. And then we used to have to do a side summit. I don't know if that's still a thing where you would have to do some type of, like, a front pass, back pass, and a side pass.
I just feel like now all the guys do. You're right. They do some type of press or static strength, and then they all do like a double full. Like, instead of doing that double full, man, do something creative.
Yeah, there's so many side passes in men's gymnastics that it shows what I like about it is that it shows a mastery of very basic skills surrounded by these high level flips and twists that that they're capable of and that they're mounting and dismounting with. But I don't think we need to see them do a round off 1.5 punch branding. That should be. Well, what
about, like, if you're Steven Legendre and you do a 2.5 punch double front down the side?
Right. But
that's
again insane. But that's, I think, more or less a training tool for air awareness and especially when you're twisting as much as like a Legendre or a Dalton or somebody like that. But I think that adding some sort of flair or some sort of personal style, which is what the women do, but it adds a little bit of that entertainment value, which is where this conversation stems from. And and again, I think a lot of guys will be very, like, hesitant toward it and not sure. And there's a lot of a lot of different movements, or even like crowd hyping movements that would be like right,
just parts that you should have into to have it actually choreographed into a routine, just to make it more entertaining for everybody watching. It's nice to have that break in the women's floor when obviously you see some amazing tumbling, and it's nice to have the break where they're making contact in the crowd and they're either doing a certain choreography or something.
And think about the teammates on the side doing the choreography. That's part of it too.
I don't necessarily like that. I ain't gonna lie. I don't necessarily like that.
I like that. I like that.
Well, I think they should get out of the way because it obstructs some people that can't. What if they can't see the routine? All they're seeing is everybody else do it versus the girl who should be displaying how to do it.
And I'll say this:
I don't like it from her shine.
I think it's in excess a little bit in women's, like when the whole women's team knows when they know the entire routine to the point that they're like literally doing the entire routine on the side, like that. I think is a lot. But, in being in a gym again, for the last 2 years and seeing our girls program and actually choreographing a few routines, the girls want some sort of movement to like a clap or something that everybody does that one thing or everybody does like one or two things with them in the routine, which, a lot of these girls, when they
gives them confidence, right?
Good and known, the crowd does it too. Like they know that part of the routine, and that's the kind of stuff that I think
interaction
that we're following. I mean, you get Sam out there and he does like a muscle man pose, like two claps, and then everybody starts clapping with him, and then he gets into the corner and he tumbles down,
right? Like a little hype up.
That'd be dope. Exactly. That'd be dope.
I mean, like it's something that is not. It's not that difficult. It does add into the training time a little bit, because obviously you have to go in for like choreography sessions. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a little bit slower, for the guys to like get into it. But if they pick music that they like and that is, obviously appropriate and, doesn't have, too much.
That is the next discussion. Obviously in a certain level, but if it's high level, I don't know. What do you do there? Because it's PG-13, right? Or what do you're hearing all types of music. As long as it's edited, right? I think as long as it's edited music, just in the NBA they don't edit sometimes. We've worked
with AGT, and we just have to use family-friendly music, or it have to be edited, or no lyrics.
Right. No lyrics. I say no lyrics, or only like Morgan Hurd. In a lot of her music, there's just like vocalization, that sort of enhances. I think Rhythmic actually does use lyrics sometimes as well. If it does, again, add to the artistry, like if the artistry of the movement really interprets it. But again, I think it's something that can evolve. I would say that it's better to start no lyrics just for the sense of like let the music match the movement. But again, I think it's something that can be evolved, especially if it really takes off for men's and typically men's gymnasts aren't as artistic as women, and there's some debate that some of the women aren't quite as artistic as they could be. But if we see it evolve in a way that brings more interaction, it adds to the entertainment value of the sport. That's something that I think would be in the discussion that the tracks can have more lyrics and be a little more involved to enhance our sport.
All right. And Jeffrey, want to thank you for coming on today. For sure.
Absolutely.
Keep it real.
Show them guns. Give them a flex, dog. Give them a flex on them.
I'm not going to show mine. I'm not going to show mine right now. I'll let you.
Yeah, you got on a big sweatshirt.
Let y'all do that real quick. Well, it goes to show you where I'm at to where you guys. You're in Texas. Is hot. Florida's hot. Pennsylvania, we haven't quite figured out the weather here. It was 32 this morning. Now it's like 60. So I don't know.
It's nice and sunny here, man. 80 degrees, Florida style.
Same here, man. Basically, that was the easiest thing about moving to Houston is that, it was just like Central Florida. It was great.
Yeah. Nice.